All right, everybody, thanks for coming out. I've been instructed to ask before we get started, is there anybody here that is a representative of Dominion or a lawyer or anything like that, just before we get started? Okay, yeah, we figured nobody would come. So I'm Jenny Smith. I live at Poplar Grove Farm on Poplar Road. That's 365-acre farm. We have a half mile of the Kraken. And if the Kraken passes through our farm, we'll lose almost 9 acres of trees. I'm the acting president of Towering Concerns. We're now Towering Concerns. We decided that Kill the Kraken was the wrong tone, that we really do want to communicate with Dominion and work with them if possible. And so we talked with the original Towering Concerns Committee and got permission and their blessing to use the name Towering Concerns in our project. Are you ready? All right, my husband Jared is working the camera, so we're really excited here. I've got a video presentation here that I'll be running. And so I'll just go ahead and get started, hopefully. So I would like to invite you to go visit our website, toweringconcerns.com. At the website, you can join our email list. You can sync our calendar so that you don't miss anything to your phones. So if you go to the website, there's a link at the top that says important dates, and it's a Google Calendar, which means you can sync it directly to your phone. It'll show you the important events. And that's important because we need to make sure that we are attending Board of Supervisors meetings en masse, but we don't want to blitz the wrong meetings. There's a lot of things happening development-wise in Stafford County right now. We don't want to distract from other people's meetings by blitzing about the Kraken at other meetings. So we're going to work with the Board of Supervisors to find out which meetings we should attend, and we'll make sure that those meetings make the calendar so that we can notify everyone. We do have a Facebook page, that's our Facebook group, that's private. We had to do that because it came to our attention that Dominion attorneys were screen capping our discussions there and using them in their materials. So we took the group private, but we also have a public-facing Towering Concerns page where we can make announcements. So the group is for discussion, but and we'd really prefer that you did that on the website. And the page is for notifications. So I know that's complicated, but it was necessary. Also on our website, you can find information in our community forums on the easement, how the Kraken may affect your ability to refinance or sell your home, the history of the Arkandale project, how tall the towers are, how far apart this poles will be, and how we discovered the Kraken is a 500 kilovolt and a 230 kilovolt line. We've got tips and information on getting on how to find your easement, and also original newspaper articles. We're as many questions as we can answer, and we'll try to answer your questions there as well. So toweringconcerns.com, you can click the link to the forum at the top of the page, or that's toweringconcerns.com/community. So we found a lot of upsetting news this week. I think a lot of you have followed us on Facebook and have heard some of this. I spoke with Seven Lakes HOA this week and shared some of that information with many of you. I recognize you from that meeting. We have confirmed our initial suspicion that the Kraken Loop is 2 lines. It's going to be a 500 kilovolt line and a 230 kilovolt line, both passing through that 120-foot easement. We've learned that in 2009, HUD passed new guidelines that structures that are within the easements of high voltage power lines, which are called in their documentation nuisances, that are within the fall distance of those poles will be denied loans. It's dire, folks, but we do have reason to hope, and I really want to emphasize that today. There really is reason for us to have hope when we're talking about the Kraken Loop. So this map shows a very rough illustration of how the Kraken could easily be moved to the area on the south side of Quantico. The route is more direct. It allows for tree protection from EMF radiation and noise for Staffordians living near the border there. And it seems to affect none of the bombing areas for the base. Now, this is our first goal at Towering Concerns. First, we want to get to this win-win solution that gives Dominion what they want, which is a power line that crosses Stafford County east to west and can provide them with the redundant power that they need. I like electricity, and we would like to find a solution that can work for them. But it also it's a win for Stafford County for the reasons that I just said. So you're going to hear a lot of news today that's going to be distressing and may even be frightening, but I would really like you to keep focus on this, that this is our immediate goal, that the Kraken has not yet been filed with the SEC, and we have an opening here for Dominion to work with us and make a plan that is something that we can work with Dominion to get instead of fighting Dominion to get. We'll take questions at the end. Now, I think we have a solid chance of doing so given the current administration in DC and Richmond. Now, Quantico, as you know, was land that used to be part of Stafford that was seized by eminent domain. And so from a historical perspective, I like the idea that of Quantico giving back a 500-foot swath on the south side of the county back to us to protect Stafford from the Kraken. So while we're on the topic of history, it's my assignment today to teach you about the history of the Kraken Loop. So now lots of you are curious or didn't understand about how the Kraken Loop came to be or were promised that it was dormant. So let me teach you the history of the easement, why people thought it was dormant, and I'll describe it all to you. The story of the Kraken actually begins in 1963. Now, in 1963, Stafford was a community in turmoil. They'd recently integrated schools in 1961, and several large family farms still dominated the county. Many roads weren't paved. Power had only been delivered to my farm in the 1950s. The population was rural and poor. Local government was struggling to provide even basic needs to citizens. And Stafford had never really recovered from the Civil War and had made so little progress that locals said, George Washington could come back today and find nothing has changed in Stafford County. So in 1963, VEPCO announced that it planned a new nuclear facility at the Arkandale site, which is on the east side of Stafford County, right on the Chesapeake Peak, right near Aquia Harbor. Okay, the Board of Supervisors and county residents were ecstatic. It's hard to imagine that today, but they were ecstatic about this. It meant that Stafford expected to double their tax base if the Arkandale project were completed. In April of 1965, VEPCO began making purchases of those easements within the county to bring a 500 kilovolt power line to the promised Arkandale plant. In October 1965, the Arkandale project was pushed back indefinitely by VEPCO. In December 1967, VEPCO was considering another power plant in Virginia, and in a last-ditch effort to entice the power plant to Stafford, the Stafford Board of Supervisors wrote a letter to VEPCO promising full county cooperation if VEPCO should decide on its Arkandale tract for a nuclear power plant, believing an announcement of the site location would be made in January of 1968. In January of 1968, VEPCO president thanked the board for promising full cooperation and then promptly announced that the plant would be built at Lake Anna. As a result, hundreds of millions of dollars of planned development in the Arkandale area were scrapped. A proposed science center was lost. Stafford schools were unable to become accredited due to the budget shortfall. The consequences were devastating. In August 1968, although the Stafford site was now a bust, VEPCO had not yet acquired the entirety of the easement from east to west from 11 landowners. Now, what you're looking at in your easements relates to this information. So some landowners, like my family, sold their easement for their neighbors, understanding that this would bring a power line that would cause huge development, scientific exploration in the county, and really help Stafford finally enter the 20th century. Others did not sell their property, either because they were infants and they needed representation, some because they were out of the county and could not be reached, and some because they could not agree on a price with VEPCO for the land. So those properties were involved in a lawsuit, and VEPCO sued to take those properties and have them condemned through the eminent domain process. Now, even though it knew that the project was dead by the end of 1965, VEPCO publicly claimed it intended to build a 230 kilovolt power line that would now go west towards Remington. And to entice the Board of Supervisors, refused to admit that the Arkandale project was dead publicly. The Freelance Star reported that Stafford residents questioned why VEPCO even needed these easements for an obviously dead project. Still hopeful that cooperating with VEPCO might bring development to the county, Stafford allowed the last of the lands to be condemned for the easements in August 1968. In December 1968, after receiving the easements, VEPCO made no attempt to construct the 230 kilovolt line, and frustration was spilling over in the county. Said the Freelance Star, "The odds of history do not favor a windfall or a helping hand out of the blue. Stafford will have to make its own progress by its own sweat and toil." In 1973, Stafford was briefly mentioned as a contender for another power plant, but reactions were obviously muted because of the previous experiences with VEPCO, and the Arkandale site was not seriously considered. In 1976, VEPCO publicly admitted that the Arkandale site was infeasible for a power plant and put the property up for sale. So I'd like to just read you a little bit from that article I referenced earlier. The Freelance Star is a little sassy here. You can tell, like I said, that people were not happy about this because the county had spent significant money developing the area of the Arkandale site, building roads, paving roads, preparing for huge industrial investment. When I tell you huge investment, in 1965 dollars, it was $1 billion of investment was expected to be made in Stafford County. That was all lost. So here's what the Freelance Star said. A stepchild of Reconstruction and ravaged by the Civil War, Stafford leads the Fredericksburg area in population growth rates, but lacks the financial tax base to bloom and flower with the growth. More and more a bedroom county, it has no shopping centers like Fredericksburg, no big motels like Spotsylvania, no big industries like the FMC Avisco plant. What it has is school children, a mounting school debt, and a bigger school needs coming. Stafford sits in the cannon's mouth of a projected urban corridor that could go off at any time with booming growth along I-95, and that means more children and more needs. Ironically, Stafford has become remarkably progressive in many things. It was the first county to adopt the executive secretary form, the first to begin zoning, planning, and comprehensive water sewer plans, and not least, the first to completely integrate its schools. But the progress has been lumbering and fitful, and all too frequently overtaken by events. The shaping of a master plan was bowled over by the trailer problem. There is still no capital outlay plan for what's ahead. Schools made tremendous strides toward a goal of prestige accreditation by the Southern Association, but dropped it at the last minute, a casualty of the budget crisis last winter. Bitterest of all are the broken hopes and half promises. VEPCO said it would build a $200 million power plant at Arkandale. Stafford Harbor said it would build a $300 million development with maybe a $500 million exposition included. Alden Construction Company said it would build a $17 million shopping center in North Stafford. None of these happened. Now, had the Arkandale project succeeded in 1968, it would have brought healthy development, including a science exposition center and high-paying jobs to Stafford. Instead, VEPCO's failure to deliver on the Arkandale project caused public schools to miss out on accreditation, and today, in a sick twist of fate, if Dominion succeeds in bringing the Kraken to Stafford, 5 schools will have 730 kilovolts of electricity overhead. So that's the end of my presentation. It's cheerful, but it's important, I think, to understand some of the history of where the Kraken came from, understand some of this history as you go back and you start looking at your records. Some of you are going to find that you're part of the part of Stafford County that sold their easement in order to bring further development to the county. Some of you are going to find that you live on land that was part of the eminent domain seizure and lawsuit. But all of us are unfortunately suffering from VEPCO's deceit with the Board of Supervisors back in the 60s. So now I'm going to turn time over to Andre, who's going to talk some more about the maps and the easements.
Hey guys, I'm Andre, and I will try to explain you a little bit on the actual easements and how the areas are going to get impacted.
You mean
I'm trying to see.
Make sure you have a mic.
Okay, thank you. I'm trying to see how I can access the actual the link, because I want to open up the GeoVoice.
Just go ahead and click it. It should pop open. Or is it open?
No, I don't have it open.
Oh, it's another screen.
Okay.
You have to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't see what it is.
Go ahead. Yeah, so we're using two computers, so it's gonna be a little bit of work. Oh, there you go. So before I will show you the areas that they're gonna be impacted, I mean, we have a line item of all the areas. We have this tool, which is very helpful, and I wanna have everybody to be able to use it starting now. Because we can actually understand better how the path is gonna take, what areas are gonna be impacted, and how this is gonna affect the whole Stafford area. And not only, but we're talking about Stafford because we live here in this county. So I'm gonna go just continue as a guest, and then this is the whole line, and it starts from south, from around Ladysmith. And this is the actual area that we are discussing about. So Stafford County starts around here and goes all the way here. And I see that, you know, there is another line that goes towards Quantico. And we can increase in size, and we can actually see the impact area and the impact properties that you can see all the lots over here, each individual lot. And I have two neighbors right here. One of them, their lot is going to be cut in half. It's somewhere over here, one of the properties here. So you have a property and they're just going to come and cut your property in half and just run those lines in the post. You don't know where the post is. We don't know anything about it. So the impact is going to be devastating. Now I have a picture. I tried to do it on a larger scale, but the tools that I'm using didn't help me. But I will explain you a little bit better what this is going to be. So Jenny explained me before, and I'm going to go here. I'm going to try to explain it. So this is the easement, and normally the easement it's about 335 feet, right? So from the easement, what Jenny is telling me, we are going to the middle, and from the middle we have 60 feet on each side. So we have 120 feet total line of affected area, or yeah, I mean that area that it's going to be the cutout, right?
Right
so,
away. Yeah.
Right away. So it's going to be a cutout through anything and everything. If you have a shed, if you have a pool, if you have anything in that area, they're going to take it out.
Did you say 60 feet on each side?
60 feet on each side from the middle. So now we just found out last week that they're going to build two lines instead of one. So that being said, the two lines are going to be like this. It's going to be so on that 120 feet, we're going to have a separation of three separate sheets, three separate corridors. The first is going to be the big line. The second is going to be, so the first 40 feet are going to be the big line. The second is going to be the spacing between the two lines, and the other one, it's the smaller line, the 230 kV, right? That being said, we're gonna have not only one, and I will show you mock-up. I tried to do the line using a little bit of a bigger picture, but I cannot. So I just use the property as an example at the end. But going with this, we can go and see what we're talking about. This is one of the areas in Seven Lakes. This is the fishing pond. This is the actual recreation area that we have for our kids in in Seven Lakes. We're not gonna be able to be here anymore because this is an impact in the easement area here. That area, the whole area, you're not allowed to do anything. And anything, you cannot be there, you cannot play, you cannot hunt, you cannot use ATVs, nothing. So this is the first area, and then we're gonna go farther away, and this is one of the biggest surprises that we have. And this is our school, the Mountain View School track field, and this is the actual stadium. I mean the field. So this is gonna create a huge impact. This is the substation that they're gonna. I mean, anyway, the line is gonna continue going towards 95, and we can see how many areas they're gonna be affected. And another school,
That's Rodney Thompson.
Rodney Thompson is right here. So all those fields are gonna be closed up. You're not gonna be allowed to be there. Yep. So this is another one. You have this, the Rich Park is gonna go. And I have many examples. I don't want to keep you, but the thing is, we have this tool and everybody can use it. So this is very easy to be used. Yes, ma'am.
I didn't catch what you said that location is right there.
Autumn Ridge Park. This is gonna be in Embry Mill.
Wait, that's the school? Autumn Ridge.
No, it's a little park. It's a basically, I think it's like a playground, and I see this is a baseball field over there. I'm just like, areas are gonna be affected, properties are gonna be affected. On some areas, it's easier because the actual easement, nobody built on it, but if you go a little bit farther away to neighborhoods, from the substation going down, you can see the impact is different. We're gonna have even a bigger impact because it's gonna go throughout houses. So all these woods are gonna be cut, 120 feet of everything, they're gonna be cut. People's properties, they're gonna be, the trees are gonna be taken out. It was me that I gave my neighbor the news about this, instead of welcoming to our community because they just moved. It was I don't know, I didn't feel good at all, but I had I felt that I need to share this with them. So after several months that they bought a house, they found out that, hey, this is gonna be their land right here, and the whole area, the whole wooded area in this zone is gonna be taken out. And this is another neighbor, we just discussed about it, and this is just in the back, it's very close to their pool. And I have a lot of research done about the sound pollution. It's a total chaos. So being around these lines, you can hear that humming constantly. There's no way around it. In some wetter times, like when a climate, it's the summer, fall, and spring, you're gonna have that sound even harder. So it's gonna be a constant humming, whenever you wanna go out, instead of listening to your nice birds and watching the deers and anything else, you just hear a nasty humming. Yes?
It's my understanding also that once they clear cut it, but then they maintain it easily, clear area that it's maintained with field loss.
Yes, I think that's gonna be applied for, like, it's the same thing like Novik does with the smaller lines. So nothing is allowed to grow. Nothing, just grass. Because as soon as you have one, whatever, small tree going up, they have the chance of creating an arc. So you don't wanna have that, and they don't wanna have that, and God forbid. But these lines can be routed, and I agree with Jenny, they can be routed to a different area. Quantico, it's gonna be the last impact that I can imagine because there is no properties, no communities, nothing in there. It's just literally wooded areas.
What's the reason they haven't looked at that? Because they don't own the land. They own our easement.
These easements were bought in 1966 in my case.
It's cheap for them.
The land was a big chunk of land, and the landowner just gave it away. They didn't care. There was no houses built over there, and there was nothing.
So
No farms.
I understand
Old farms, yes.
But have they not even asked to acquire it and to put it in? Because my problem is, you said Autumn Ridge Park, for example.
Yes.
That would be an unused park then. The park itself would no longer, because they wouldn't be able to grow it, they wouldn't be able to expand it, which is all things that they've been making promises on. So you're saying that park would not be usable.
No, you
Right
cannot.
now, the county does not have the right amount, it is under the acreage it needs to have for county parks. And they have to increase county parks in order to make their per person. So how in the world can they say that that's gonna be costly to the county? The county is already complaining about the cost of regular parks upkeep that they have as it is. They would have to replace that acreage, not to mention add more parkage somewhere else. To me, I don't understand and it's right next to a middle school.
This is why we're here.
So there's
We're
no
trying to
common
fight
sense
it.
in any
We-
of this. It makes no sense.
And we need your help, everybody's help, any insight that you guys have, it's super welcome. So we're super welcome to have anybody. Hey, how are you? Same here.
Just you mentioned that you felt obligated to tell your new neighbors. My question is, I mean, you guys are fairly new to your neighborhood too. Is there not an obligation on behalf of the person, I mean, how long have we all been in the, no pun intended, loop about all this? I mean, it seems pretty recent. How long has this whole thing been in the works?
This easement was done 60 years ago, was
Right.
purchased 60 years ago.
This particular,
Okay,
The Kraken, the whole, yes.
okay.
She has some comments,
I
because
have
she's very good
a few
into that.
answers for you. The Autumn Ridge, I believe that, I'm not positive, maybe someone from Autumn Ridge, I believe that is their private park. I don't believe it's
no,
a
it is not.
county.
You mind talking into that?
Is
for
it?
the
Okay.
Zoom?
Oh, no, I'm okay.
it was given over to them
Okay,
when
all
the
right.
community opened.
Okay.
I'm on the HOA, so
Oh,
that's
good.
where I know.
Okay, great.
I mean, we can see this, right, the
So
schools.
The county has hired an attorney, outside legal counsel, to go against the FCC. And their goal is to represent the county, which would include the schools, the parks, and the best interests of us as a community. As Jenny stated the other night at the Seven Lakes, this Towering Concerns group is not going to seek legal guidance to help homeowners fight. This group is just to educate. So, fighting,
That's not set in stone though, yeah.
okay,
We
well,
just
that's
started
what
this
she,
group. We can get
Where
a
is she?
lawyer if we wanted to, or our own people. So,
okay,
Is that true?
correct me if I'm wrong. At your
Not a
meeting.
be a 501(c). But I think what your question was when was this started, right? And so I think what you're asking is when was this announced? The public announcement was made in October of last year, October 2025. We do know that PMJ started this project as, it was announced as part of their project before that. So early in 2025 is when the public became aware of it. I'm not aware of it before then. Sorry about that, Andre.
No, it's all good. I mean, that's why we're here. We're here to discuss. Go ahead, sir.
Andre, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So, obviously Dominion had the right of way for this easement for quite a long time, right? My question is, when they start to develop and build all these homes, don't they have to ask permission of the person, of the entity with the right of way and the easement to build? And if so, they said yes, you probably had some monetary gain. How does that happen?
The problem is like this. I believe a bunch of people thought this was an abandoned easement.
But they still have to ask permission.
Nobody was asked permission. I haven't heard anything. And it's gonna go over our property.
But it's not the county gives permission, it's the entity that has the right of way, correct?
No, so the entity that owns the easements, right, which is Bethel, gives permission for you to encroach on their easement, which is what has happened. And
they
so,
get permission.
that's right, but they have always protected that 120-foot strip in the center and not allowed anybody to build in that 120-foot strip in the center. So that's what their argument is, that we still have access to this 120-foot strip. It's too bad that you built 120 feet into our easement and we allowed it, right? But,
That's the part I can't get past is that they allowed it,
yeah,
and now they're
yeah.
saying no.
So that's what I'm saying, those are really questions for the planning commission, so
our main goal is to gather as much information we can and to have the proper tools to know about. Knowledge is the key to everything. Go ahead, sir.
Andre, you mentioned Quantico, moving the lines to Quantico. Sounds like a great strategy. Is Quantico involved in this, or are we just suggesting it in the thin air? What's actively going on to make the move to Quantico?
I think Jenny can fill us better about the Quantico.
From a lawyer, so sorry.
Oh, yeah, it's all good. Now, again, this is we're here to discuss. So take your time and ask questions.
You would repeat the question for the people at home, just, as a.
People on Zoom aren't hearing the
Yeah, so I'm trying to be in the front of the camera too. So the actual question was if anybody or Quantico knows about our plan or is.
Not yet.
so-
Well, I shouldn't say that. I do know that the county is working the back way from the county to explaining people to Dominion.
Okay.
Because Dominion's gotta make the proposal, right? We don't get to, make the submission to the SEC. And the county is doing that. The county does have this information and they're working. So we're very, very early. Like, some of our questions are not gonna be able to be answered right now. But the county is trying to help us.
So, are we able to raise funds for a community lawyer, just for us, to answer questions like he is here, to get guidance, whatever we may be, like, is that an option?
You are in our group and we're welcoming to the people that know better than we do because I'm not in the legal field.
We have, Holly was part of Tower Concerns. We can explain kind of how they operated.
Are you okay to hand you the microphone too?
When we,
You can come up front for the camera because we have people on the camera.
sorry, I've been moving wood, so I'm going to just be up front. I look like all of us getting ready for the start. No,
You are
I'm good
perfectly
now.
fine, believe us.
When Towering Concerns formed, we did form a group, and we did file with the State Corporation Commission, and we did do fundraising. However, what I will tell you is we had, there were several attorneys involved. The best thing that had happened to us, if anybody reads any of the posts that I have posted on here from the very beginning, is saying, you have to have the county have legal counsel looking out for the whole county, because that's what we need. We need to find out, as the gentleman stated in the back, hey, you allowed us to build in an easement, you okayed it, you approved it. Well, now, if I'm the county, I need some compensation because I have to rebuild this. I'm not saying that's counsel, but I'm just giving you an idea, we need that big picture. Towering Concerns brought forth, and we did end up hiring an attorney at that time to represent our interests, but our interest was very discreet. Also, a local builder at the time, it was Berkshire Homes. I know Mike owns 500 other companies. They had one that represented, I think, Berkshire separately. He got involved in that. What I'm going to tell you, though, is our attorney was great. At that time, I asked him and I said, I will serve as local counsel here because we knew how expensive it was going to be. At that time, the county spent about $250,000, and we're talking 18, 17, a long time ago. We wanted a very discreet person. At the time also, Buddy Secor was a interested homeowner in there, and we needed to make sure when we went down to the SCC to make our arguments that Buddy was not speaking as Towering Concerns. He could also speak as a homeowner. I know these sounds like really weird things, but he's an excellent speaker if you have ever heard him speak. We needed some of that guidance to walk us through the process. None of us had ever seen an SCC hearing and how it was going to be conducted. So he filed briefs on our behalf, but they were very much in support of other things. They didn't file the monster briefs because we would have been $250,000. I will say this, we can talk privately afterwards. We tried to raise money. We did, but in the end, several people were left holding a big bill, or a bill. for an attorney. And I feel like the community of Stafford won in that, but I can't not lie to you and say it's expensive. And if you don't have the community coming in with some funds, a small group of people who may be on the board are going to be left with that bag. We ended up having a wonderful donor who did ask to be anonymous. I'm going to say that, and I will respect that, who came in and finished our bill. It was $5,000 to $7,000 left and helped us cover it. So all I'm saying is if you're going to go the attorney route, make sure you have, because many attorneys are not going to talk to you. I don't think in today's society and today's environment that they don't know that they will be able to be paid up to $20,000 or $25,000. I could be wrong, and I may be way off on the amount. I'm just making a number. We were referred to Mr. Montgomery. He and I worked very well together to try to make him he didn't come to a lot of the meetings here. He came to the main ones. We really used his time. So you need a unique set of circumstances to hire the attorney. I'm not telling you no or not, but I wanted to give you some reality.
And we really appreciate your feedback. I mean, this is great information.
So two-part question, if you don't mind. One is rough idea. To mount a reasonably successful defense, how much are we talking? 500, 5 million? I mean, just a rough idea. Second part of that question then is, maybe it's for Jenny, could Towering Concerns fund it through a GoFundMe or something along those lines?
Oh, I'm pretty sure we can. We can start it now.
Okay.
But the thing is, we need to
yeah.
know legality.
So Jenny knows, and a bunch of you know, that prior to Thanksgiving, actually, my first meeting with Brian Turner, who is one of Loudoun County's lawyers representing HOAs and community activist groups in Loudoun County right now for the Golden Mars. I had spoken to him, and it was the day after Thanksgiving, and I've been speaking with him since about different avenues and approaches. And my goal from the very beginning was to fight, to organize, and to fight with a lawyer, because I am not competent to do that myself, and no one else has said they are. I did bring up the finance situation because and I'm not speaking for my HOA, I know that my HOA cannot foot a $200,000 to $300,000 bill. None of our HOAs single-handedly can. I've spoken to him specifically about that cost and how Loudoun County neighborhoods have done it. And some of you will remember me speaking about pods, neighborhood pods, community groups, and how it is done is community group, such as Towering Concerns or other, raises money. That money goes to the legal fees off the top. So that way Towering Concerns isn't stuck with a bill. Individuals, or if HOAs get on board and want to spend some money, if you divide $250,000 to $300,000 between 6 neighborhoods over 2 years, the numbers go down to $20,000, $30,000, which are more doable. There is also different avenues where individual homeowners that are extremely affected, we could come up with some type of agreement where maybe they foot X amount of dollars towards the bill. But there are creative ways to go ahead and bring the bill down with the support of a community group and numerous HOAs. Brian Turner and another president of a Loudoun County HOA is willing to come and talk to us and organize and get together with that. But we have to be clear if Towering Concerns is a group that is going to initiate and go through with that, or if the goal of Towering Concerns is just to educate. Any questions?
Can I ask two questions?
Yes, ma'am.
That might seem now after some of this information has been given, maybe a little juvenile in all this, but hopefully maybe it'll educate some other people. path of, planned, lines, is there not a single property within that path where there has been an easement that hasn't been sold off to this Vetco?
No, they all have.
They all have it.
And that is my statement.
But again, it was
Sure.
bought in 1966.
66, and some of them have
60
been
years ago.
abandoned. And my statement is, they are filing between March and June. That is coming up very quick. I have been reading this, reading documents from the SEC, learning about soils, doing all kinds of things, and I am not qualified to stand up in front of the SEC as an individual and fight for my rights for the line not to be in our backyards. If somebody else feels like they are, then I'm willing to listen to you. I really feel like as a community, we can band together, we can come up with a goal, like move, as I spoke to Jenny about, like move the line to Quantico, and that could be our fight. The county is doing the best job they can, and I thought that was going to be the hardest part, and they're fighting. But imagine them going in front of the SEC saying, we don't want this and we're trying to fight, but none of our community was able to activate and stand behind them. What signal does that give to the SEC? What signal does that give to Dominion if we can't gather our community and fight with them? We are asking the community to spend, the county, to spend our taxpayer money on a hired lawyer, a proven hired lawyer, which they did. They did fast, they did hard, and we need to thank Daryl and Crystal and Pam for that. But we have to stand behind them and say, our tax money that you are now spending on the hired attorney means something to us, and we need to gather together, form some type of coalition, either under Towering Concerns or a different way, and move forward. And we don't have the time to gerrymander and try to figure this out ourselves. I've been reading for 9 weeks and I don't understand everything. Some of you understand different parts than I do, and I welcome that information. But it is time to start getting our homeowners together, our HOAs together to form different committees so the HOAs can vote on how they want to move forward and to somehow raise funds.
This is gonna be our last question
Yeah.
for right now. Let's hold these kind of questions to the end. We still have several presentations to do yet.
Yep.
So we still have after Andre's.
So maybe we can answer some questions through the presentation.
There's also one
Oh, there
Zoom,
is
one on Zoom, if we can.
Okay,
Don't
do it at the end, okay.
Okay.
Okay. I'm just gonna go to the slides and, well, we gotta get out from the,
Wait, close that.
so we need to move from one screen to the other. You don't need to close, you can just select it, because maybe we can go back to it later.
Is it recognized by the SEC as a 501c3 or?
Grassroots individuals trying to get to a better place, including some type of official organized structure. But right now, we've got a bunch of citizens that are on committees that are gathering information as to bring to the citizens of Stafford County and to get a plan moving forward.
So informal gathering of citizens, no formal board, no. Okay.
That's only informed by the way they really.
Yeah, it would have to be if it's gonna very.
There are legal constraints. You want to have some kind of structure so that somebody doesn't run off with your money or something like that. And so that's why we don't want to do a GoFundMe, because there's no protection. There's no guarantee with GoFundMe that the money doesn't break from there.
We have 9 weeks until that Dominion potentially files with the SEC. So I think that's important. We have 9 weeks to figure out as a community how we're going to move forward. And education is great, but we do have to move on to what is our goal.
And we're trying to get people aware of this, so we're starting to build some easy tools in order to share it very easy and create a big impact on the people. So we try to get a video, we're trying to get this presentation in a different format that can be sent to the people. We're gonna work on this on the next days, because a lot of people don't know what's going on still. I found out from my neighbor, from Larry, waiting at the school bus in the morning. I didn't know till recently. But anyway, those are the actual areas. So again, I'm showing you Stafford being impacted, highly impacted of this. There are some areas where they already post, there are already lines. Those areas have been already impacted. We're talking about new areas that never got posts, never got any lines, and they're gonna be highly impacted. And I'm gonna,
So when you look at impacted areas of Stafford County, I understand that those are the areas that are directly impacted by building of the poles and the lines. But I would make the argument that the entire county is gonna be affected, especially if it goes over the city streets. That's gonna go directly to the middle.
absolutely, I mean, we're not doubt. We are. We wanna, this is in regards to the entire county, and because this is gonna impact not only after, but during the construction, because they need a lot of space in order to move, to build, to do. It's gonna be impactful anyway and for everybody. So this is, let me put it on a different phrase. It's gonna greatly impact the people that never had to do with this. It was just, it's literally their properties, their own houses, their own land, their own wood, their own farms. This is crazy. And again, yeah, the rest of the, if we have another way of doing it, let's try to do it that we don't have to destroy communities. This is our thinking right now. And I don't know how to go to the next slide, if you can, because I don't have them. No, there. Thank you. Perfect. So I already talked about these areas. I showed you on the map, so I'm just gonna continue going. So this is the first thing, and we talked in our team, we were joking about it, because we are actually against, we're fighting against power lines that they're gonna feed the big data centers, but we actually use ChatGPT to build an image, right? This is a mock-up of an image. This is not real. So ChatGPT built it, and I told ChatGPT, do a monopole, creating a high 500 megawatt line in the Stafford County school, around the Stafford County school. So this is how actually close it's gonna look in the future, in the back of Margaret Brandt, and in the back of our school, our son's school, on Rodney Thompson. So those are just two schools that I'm aware of because we are hit right there. So there are the other ones, and I have the list right here. So I found the list of all the schools being impacted by it, and again, we're gonna have all this information shared to everybody so we can create a tool to give it away to people so they know. Awareness, it's very important. This is, I tried to do a larger scale to do the lines, how they impact a property. So I just put a random property, right? So this is the way how it looks now, right? And this is how ChatGPT built it. So this is the impact of a property. They're cutting the woods, they're taking out of all this land, they're cutting this wood. And honestly, for me, this was shocking when I saw it. So after I saw the image, it's like, oh my God, I cannot believe it. But it's so real. And it can actually happen. And there are actually two lines instead of one. They're gonna be a larger tower and a smaller tower. They're 230 kW and 500 kW. So kV, I'm sorry, not watts, volts, yeah. So kV. So it's a greater impact than what you see in this image. Again,
Do you have any more samples like that, Andre?
I can create it, it's not easy. It took me 2 hours to get this done.
Because I need them over our wetlands.
I will, so I'm gonna try to, again, I'm gonna try to go get our wetlands, the images from satellite, and I'm gonna try to mock up the lines. Again, this is something that it's very close to look like this.
If we go on to that and request that they put pictures, because some of the neighborhoods do not have pictures, if we request and we request and we request, Dominion is supposed to provide us with mock-up pictures.
Do you believe them?
No, this is what I've been advised to tell everyone, to request those pictures in neighborhoods and areas that do not have the pictures. Dominion is supposed to provide them, but the chances of them doing it right now without the leaves on the trees are minimal because it'll look worse. So if you wanted to act right now today, going on and requesting Dominion provide pictures of your neighborhood, your wetlands, your schools that aren't on their billboard, that would be a good community focus.
Could you repeat that really fast for the people at home, Andre?
I'm sorry?
Could you repeat that for the people that are at home, just really briefly?
Repeat about
What
the.
she just said about
Okay.
GeoVoice?
So they can, so again, the Dominion is actually required to show mock-ups for people like us if we want to request them, right? First of all, I don't believe of what because we have a small mock-up that we can play with on the GeoVoice website. It doesn't help a lot. So I doubted that, but again, we can, and I'm gonna help Danny for the wetlands. I'm gonna do it. It takes a little bit of time because you need to. It's ChatGPT in there. They can build a lot, but you need to put the message very clear over what they need to create. So it's not easy. You got to modify, remodify. I'm sorry.
So let me,
So
let
let
me
Jenny.
just stop you guys.
Yes.
Okay, it's 2:22, and we're out of here at 2:30, and I still have 3 more presentations to go.
Okay, so we gotta-
Let's hold the questions to the end.
So
and
who's
we'll
next?
do what we can.
Thank you, guys.
Hi, I'm Casey Mathis. I'm from Poplar Estates. If any of you guys have been to the Board of Supervisors meeting or the school board meetings, I've spoke up. And that's what we're looking for the rest of the communities to do. I'm here to actually tell you. Oh, sorry.
I electrocuted her.
That's a 230
I'm here to actually tell you what these 500 kV lines are in case if you're new. I will try to briefly skim through it because many of you have probably already heard me before. I will try to get through this fast. Okay, so 500 kV lines, they are extra high voltage lines. They're designed to move massive amounts of power. They are not distribution lines, they are transmission lines. These transmission lines are not providing power to Stafford County. They are moving power from Lake Anna all the way up to Stafford and across out to Loudoun County. Now, the reason why they can't go straight up from Loudoun County per Dominion, when I spoke with them, because they have a direct line that goes up there that they already have easements on. Per Dominion employees, they told me that those lines are overused. Like there's not enough room to add more power up that line. That's how come the Kraken line is doing like a big U. They're trying to find an avenue to where they can move this power. These voltage lines, if any one of you don't know what they look like, 500 kV lines are usually the lines on the side of a mountain. It looks like a reverse mohawk. Even when it's cloudy and foggy and you look up a mountain and you see this clearing path, you're like, oh, there's power lines up there. They clear everything underneath it. You're not allowed to have any vegetation and or protected wetlands. We'll get to that. Sorry, I'm borrowing a friend's glasses here. The structures are usually 170 to 200 feet. The reason why they're 170 to 200 feet has to do with the sag of the line. So usually you could have 1,000 feet in between each massive poles. The power lines sag like a big U, so they sag down. They also sag when they get ice on them, and they sag when they are high temperatures. They also sway in the wind. So you have to, the reason why the poles are so high, they have to be so high off of the ground to cover the sag and the sway. Also, there's arcing. Arcing is where the electricity jumps from the pole to ungrounded objects that are in the easement. So arcing, electricity can jump off to 14 feet off of the line. For those of you who do not know about electricity, the power it's not inside of the line. It's an electromagnetic field. So the electricity follows on the outside of these lines. So hence it jumps off the lines. Hence the reason why you need 150 feet clearance and you need the poles to be so high. So they are very dangerous. These are called highway transmission lines for a reason. There are a reason why these are not in neighborhoods, because they are extremely unsafe.
You said 150 or 120? We don't, I want to make sure we know exactly how much.
It depends on the size of the pole that they're using.
We don't know yet.
So we don't know. Dominion did tell me on the monopoles that there's different types of monopoles as well. On the monopole, there are 4 lines on one monopole. So if you think it's like a single line coming through, no, there's going to be 4 electrical lines on one monopole. It has like little arms kind of like coming out of it.
Close to the picture that we have.
Yeah. They will also have another smaller pole beside it. One reason why it is not down the center of the easement is because they have to be able to get equipment in there, heavy equipment in case if it goes down. Guess what? That equipment can't go underneath the line. Why? Because it's so dangerous. You'll get electrocuted. I am fortunate that I have a family member that works on high-powered electrical lines in another state. So I have a little bit of knowledge of how these work. So it's to one side. It has to clear the sway. That sway cannot go outside of that easement. And you have to have one side of the easement to bring in the electrical and to also cover that sway. So they clear everything underneath it. Yes.
So my question would be, when they talk about the clearance, or like, you know, you see on the thing, the purple. So that, when they talk about like the 50 feet, somebody said earlier, the 50 feet, it's not 50 feet from the pole, is it 50 feet from where the furthest part of
60.
So here's the bottom line. We could crunch numbers and say 120, 150. It really doesn't matter. Dominion has the authority to clear all 335 feet of the easement. The more, it doesn't matter. Yes, correct. It doesn't matter. You could say 120, 150. They have the authority to clear all of it. So I'm trying to move on here. Okay, I talked about that. I talked about the arcing, how it could jump. The corona effect, we already talked about the noise. The corona effect is where the electricity jumps off the lines in the water in high temperatures. What that is actually air molecules exploding. So that's what you're hearing, the cracking and the popping. That never stops.
And I'm doing research with that.
So if you're going to use monopoles, they are anchored in concrete bases. Those bases can go up to 25 to 55 deep and like 4 to 5 meters wide. So on my property, I have what's called CRPA. You could all find this on your plots through the county. CRPA is Critical Resource Protective Area. So a lot of communities have this. I don't know if yours is a protected area. In this protective area, they have protected species. I have a freshwater stream that leads into a freshwater pond. So the issue with, don't think that your protective area is going to stay. Your protective area is not going to stay. They have to destroy it. They will destroy anything underneath it. And what they do is when they spray these chemicals go into this freshwater area. That's the reason why we need someone to represent us or someone to guide us into what is the next step. How do we protect this? Who do we contact? What do we need to provide SEC with in order to protect? This is just one example. Okay, so that has to do with the foundation. I'm sorry, I'm skimming through this super quick so we could get out of here. So the issues with these power lines, you're looking at the large right-of-way, the noise, any kind of species that are there. I mean, how many species do you see walking in the easements like out in Manassas and all that? How many birds do you see flying around these power lines, or the foxes, or we have like the little, what do you call those animals that build little dams with wood? There you go. We have those. Let's play charades. We got those in our neighborhood. We have endangered bats. Like they're all gonna leave. They're not gonna stay just due to the noise. There's visual issues that you have. So once people, like, You bought wooded areas to see these trees. Those are all gone. You're going to hear the noise constantly. The property values can decrease 2 to 9% on average, some up to 17%. Some of these properties, my neighbor's, his gutter of the house is actually in the easement. So that easement is coming right up to his house. So other properties will be vastly more affected than others. Let's see, as far as these lines over the schools, they will have to move the track field. They're gonna have to move the baseball field. They have to move those. You're not allowed to play underneath these lines. You're not allowed to play in the easement. The easement is called an exclusion area for a reason. You're not allowed in there. So speaking of the board of, the school board, who's paying for that? When asked Dominion, I was sitting 5 feet behind him. He was crawfishing it. I'm from New Orleans. That's what you call crawfishing. He couldn't answer the question. He kept backtracking. Well, maybe working with you. But you're going to have to move that top lot, and we're not paying for that. So he right out said that. So that's another community thing. Where's all this money to move all these fields regarding these schools? Also, there's a potential 6th school that's supposed to be in Embry Mills. I have yet to see anyone from Embry Mills in these meetings. That is a huge neighborhood that's getting hit. They have one whole street where that is backed up to like 10 houses. I really want Embry Mills to participate in this.
That's my question. How do we get the word out?
Well, that's what we're trying. So like that potential,
Can I get back on the geomap?
that potential school area, they would no longer be able to build that school area. Embry Mills, real quick. When certain people bought homes in Embry Mills, they had to pay money towards a new school. Like that was the promise of when you lived in Embry Mills. If you bought a big house, it was up to $40,000 per house. If you bought a townhouse, it's up to $5,000 or $10,000 per house. They are promised the schools. Where's that school going to go? I don't know, because it can't go in that area. Let me just see. I'm finishing up here. So these are all the concerns of the community that you really need to worry about. These lines are not safe. They bring lots of hazards. We're trying to get the word out. The next thing is, what is the next step? You know, that's what you want to think when you're fighting a $1 billion company. You got to be 10 steps ahead of them. You can't be behind them. You're never going to be able to catch up. You got to think ahead. So where do we go to help fight? Where do we go to just to get guidance? Like, what do we need to do next? Like, these are the things that we should be thinking about as a community.
Seems like health would be a really good angle. I know I've been reading his comments on these two pages that he has set up, and there are a lot of people down in like the Ladysmith area that are complaining about the health effects they've had living so close. I wonder if that's really the best kind of like angle to really.
That's a hard angle. I work in the medical field. That's what I do. That's a hard angle because it has to be proven without a reasonable doubt. You have to have scientific data. All the studies that are out there are saying, oh, it could possibly be linked, but we can't prove it. Why can't they prove it? Because they're not going to put a kid underneath a power line for 20 years to do the study. So those are retrospective studies, and they could only assume that is a factor. That's like proving autism was by a vaccine. Like you could say that, but you have to 100% prove it. So yes, it is a concern. You could absolutely voice that. Is that the golden egg? No. But is it part of this process? Absolutely, it's part of the process. Yes.
You can't necessarily go that route, but what about those with cochlear implants and hearing aids?
Yes, I think there is a group within Towering Concerns that is working on that because you also want to worry about PTSD and other vets with the constant noise.
All the students in Mountain View, like there has got to be.
So this is the reason also why we're here, because I want to get into the schools. I personally want to get into the schools. I want to speak to the students. We need the students to speak out. The students in Stafford are phenomenal. They've already passed several bills, several laws in the county. I need to get into the schools and present. A lot of these principals have no idea what's coming. Only the school board does. I don't know why the school board isn't sharing it with the principals or the students. So if anyone here is a teacher or has a way to get into it, okay, I want to speak to you afterwards. And yes.
I
speaking on Thursday to at the Board of Supervisors meeting. I'm trying to get a meeting with the athletic coach so that we can go that route with them. But I've talked to several different groups within Mountain View, student groups, just personal contacts, and trying to get them to encourage all their friends to come to the meeting as well.
I would love to also speak with you afterwards, because I want to try to get some context. Okay. All right, I'm going to sit down. I'm trying to speak fast so I can get out of the way. Next person up.
Go ahead.
Mike? Sure. Back to it. Use that one. There you go. There's one on the table there.
How do I hook this up?
Okay,
Just the HDMI there.
yeah, just, it's
The white
HDMI,
line?
so just do this.
You got HDMI.
You have an HDMI?
Yeah. It's on the other side. It's right there. It's right here. And then how do I present when I want to show the entire thing? There you go.
Sure.
How do I show the whole thing? I'm sorry.
We're trying to get a legislative committee together to take these things to the state. One of the things that Towering Concerns did super successfully was get actual laws passed at the Commonwealth level to allow for the state to provide funding for their for burying the 230 kilovolt line. So there's actually legislation that Towering Concerns and Stafford County was instrumental in getting passed in order for those lines to be buried. So yeah, the state can do it. Yeah.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah. They're going to put over the buried lines, they're planning to put 230 kilovolt on top of it and 500 on top of it as well. So the irony of that is, right, now that it's buried, we've made it possible for them to add 2 more lines over the top of it. So yeah, sorry, go ahead, Albert.
Okay, my name is Albert. I'm part of the Public Relations Committee. I'm not the best speaker in the world, so forgive me if I stutter or I pause or anything like that. Opposing. Sorry.
Whoops, I'll electrocute you too.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, so opposing the Kraken project, it requires action, not just awareness and education. We need action. I think we're ready for that. Public participation, it's essential, and all of our decisions are influenced by visible, documented opposition. There's going to be a list presented here. If you have any testimonies or you'd be willing to speak in board meetings, please let us know and put your name on that list. We're going to need to coordinate messaging and outreach to the board, and we're going to need to keep maintaining public pressure. Strategy: we're going to keep educating the community and provide clear actions. We're going to need people to show up consistently, not just here, to board meetings, to HOA meetings. We need to cover it all. We're one message with many voices. Okay, yeah, so collecting personal statements from people, we're going to need that. If you're shy, like me, and you don't want to go speak in front of the board, maybe somebody will do that for you. But we're going to help prepare residents for future speaking opportunities. If you haven't talked to your HOA, please do. We need everybody's participation to make this work. Tell your neighbors, not everybody's aware of this. There's some people that have no idea what's going on. They're getting towers in their backyard. But yeah, so please contact your HOA boards. Letters to the SCC and the other agencies. We're going to need your participation in that too. State corporate. Yeah, we're going to need to coordinate we're going to need to start coordinating comments. Right now, we're kind of scattered. We're all new, but we're going to need to create a list of everybody that's willing to comment, everyone that's willing to speak, and we're going to need participation with that, and we will let y'all know. And if you're going to be speaking at the board meeting, just focus on student and school impact, health, and broader accountability. We spoke a little bit about a community lawyer. We're kind of just poking around with that. I did a little research last night, and it does seem like it's possible. I didn't get $250,000 in costs, but I may be wrong. ChatGPT lies sometimes. I got a list of identified attorneys and firms. I'm going to share this internally. If we ever decide to go that route, I may have been lied to, but I got a retainer of $25,000, consultations $250 to $500, and hourly $300 to $600.
I've been speaking to Brian Turner, who represents HOAs in Loudoun County, and I have the exact numbers, and he's willing to come and speak to any homeowner, community group, or HOAs to discuss that. But the best plan of action is us to pod together, and there are real live numbers and plans to go about it. And as soon as we have some action, we can all work together, but we need a path forward.
Okay, so I did look into fundraising a little bit. We are not a nonprofit, so the word donate cannot be used, but we are able to raise money. That money would be taxed, but we would need to say exactly what it's going for. Cannot use the word donate. These are not donation. But yeah, goals of raising money. We're going to need money for this, whether it be a lawyer, flyers, whatever it may be. I believe we should start a GoFundMe, today. And the cool thing, I looked into a couple of different options. So GoFundMe, you can have like 3 or 4 people as the admin. So it's not just one person. If we are to start fundraising, it needs to have a clear purpose and oversight. Any money spent, it needs to be transparent, made known to everybody. If I donate or Tom donates, we want to make sure that our money is going to good use. This has already been stated, but is a lesson. They're going to be filing in less than 6 months, I believe, or you said it was actually 10. Okay. So less than 3 months. We need to do whatever we can now. And we are going to fight. Our homes are at risk. It's not just me. It's not just you. It's all of us. And there's thousands of families affected by this. So if you could, please put your name. We're going to have some lists out here. Maybe put testimony next to your name. And we'll reach out to you and get your testimony. Contact your HOAs. Contact your school board. We'll reach out to the people that want to do testimonies, and we'll coordinate public speakings at boards. I believe we should start doing GoFundMe. We'd have to have an internal decision on that. And again, all uses of the funds will have to be 100% transparent. And also the GeoVoice coordinated messaging. That's going to be, we would like everybody to start participating in that. And the same, speaking at board, the board of supervisor meetings, speaking at the school board meetings, it's incredibly important. And if you're not on the mailing list already, please get on the mailing list already and encourage others. And that was my presentation.
Thanks, Albert. All right, I think we have landowners committee. Oh, sorry, Tim. Tim, I skipped you, my friend. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Tim Cosart. I live at the Greens Bay McClay, moved in 2002. Thanks. Oh, God,
I'm going to electrocute every person.
Jesus. So during the informational meeting in December, 7 committees were formed to create, research, communicate, and suggest mitigating solutions to the proposed North Anna Kraken power line. Those committees include a MOVE committee to research alternative routes, which Jenny's talked a little bit about that, landowners committee to identify impacts on landowners, historic and scenic, school outreach, legislative and public relations and communications, which I'm going to talk a little bit about that now. In addition, there's an executive board that's also being created to provide some directions on these efforts as well, because right now we're 7 independent committees that Jenny's kind of keep, roping us together to keep us on focus. Each of these committees has a daunting task and needs your help. There are sign-up sheets to volunteer back on that back side, and if you haven't signed in, please do so on the other table over on the side there. Since creation in December, I want to give some highlights to some of the stuff the Public Affairs or Public Relations Committee has done. First off, and Jenny talked a little bit about this, we changed the organization's name from Bury the Line and Kill the Kraken to Towering Concerns. There was much discussion on the change, especially on the Killing the Kraken. There was a lot of discussions on that one, by the way. Revised the Bury the Line website, migrating to the new organizational name of Towering Concerns. A big thank you to Jenny, for starting this effort and creating and maintaining these websites. We also created a Towering Concerns Facebook page, and Jenny explained, I won't go into the detail of what's the differences between them, but sign up, for the mailing list on the website and register for the Facebook because it is a private Facebook account. We established a Google Share Drive to store working documents for the committees, identified the Stafford County communities, and currently developing a list of key HOA board members. I've taken this on since I've been an HOA board president in my past life for over 22 years, and have a lot of passion for that, although my wife wishes I didn't have that passion. So I've been working to find, the key board members, property managers. I've got a complete list of all the property managers that manage properties here in Stafford County, and soon to be reaching out to them to work with them to get this information out. But if you've got any other contacts at HOAs, please let us know so that we can get that on our list. I found that there was 874 communities. That's where there at least a community or an HOA in Stafford County alone. So it's quite a large list. So again, we need your help to create this list. Let us, know who your HOA president is or the property management company, and we'll reach out and get a hold of them. The other things we've been doing is attending the Stafford Board of Supervisors meetings, the school board meetings, the Protect Stafford meeting. Is everybody familiar with Protect Stafford? Okay, so I'll go through what that is. So before I finish, a couple of things. I want to kind of bring up that we've kind of heard about in the PR committee, and that is about these power lines in the not in my backyard. And the reality of this is that it is in your backyard, and it said you should be concerned because if Dominion Energy is successful in running these power lines in this dormant easement or right of way, they will not stop there. They have other easements, and the easements are in each one of our backyards. Found I've got an easement in my property. I'm on the side of Amy Clay that's not going to look at the power line. I'll probably look at it, be looking up the street, but I do have an easement in my backyard for other utilities. So you have to be educated, and through our website you can find out information about how to do that. And while the Dominion states that this power line is needed to strengthen the power grid, this transmission line does not provide service to our neighbors, which we just talked about earlier. However, each of you should review the GeoVoice map and follow the Kraken route. Ironically enough, that power line runs right through already approved and proposed data centers. That is irony there. And by the way, the GeoVoice map doesn't have any of the restaurants on it that are on Courthouse Road. So that's an old map. So just be aware of that, because I've been studying that map a lot recently, and it's interesting. All it does is show dirt where the McDonald's is in the Wawa. Jenny provided a history of the easement. The current situation is there are homes, schools, and their sports fields, businesses, and recreational facilities are right in the path of the proposed power lines. At no fault of the Stafford Board and Planning Commission, building occurred on these long-time dormant easements. And I just want to be clear about this. The supervisors have expressed they do not want these power lines running, parsing through our county and our allies in this fight. So we've heard some finger pointing at other meetings, and we want to be pretty clear that, you know, the Board of Supervisors agreed that this lines should not be parsing through our communities and the right-of-way and the trees taken down from that. So with that, I just want to conclude by saying that we need to write letters, we need to get involved, talk to your neighbors, sign up for the mailing lists, get involved on the Facebook account, you know, and log into there. We'll be sharing a lot of the information on our tactics and future plans. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Jenny. Yeah, go ahead.
Great, thanks.
I know that Jenny had met with Pam in regards to towering concerns.
Here.
Can you update us on what Pam said or what that meeting was about?
I won't right now because I want to hear from the landowners committee, give them a few minutes. We've only got 10 minutes left in our meeting time. So you guys go ahead, about 5 minutes. I hope you got 5 minutes. Thanks, Pam.
Okay, my name is Pam Evans, and I live in Hunters Pond, and I'm on the Landowners Committee, and I only have two things I need to say, and one is if everybody needs to find their title work and have it ready. Until we decide what route we're going to take as far as working with homeowners and the HOAs to hire an attorney, we just need to have all that information at the ready. And if you don't know what title work looks like, or if you don't know where to find it, see one of us after the meeting today. And that's it.
Great, fantastic. Okay, what we heard there was if your title doesn't have details, reach out to the title company and they have it? Okay. Perfect, thank you. Thank you for that information. All right, do we have any other committees that need to make a report? All right, great. Well, I do appreciate everybody coming out. Thank you for answering your questions. We keep holding these meetings for an hour and a half, and we have far more questions than can be answered. We do have another meeting scheduled for next month. It's on our website. Let me, I can't remember, hold on, and I'll tell you the date. Is that the right date? Oh, let me first tell you the Board of Supervisors meeting that's correct, on January 29th at Brook Point High School. That's going to be an important meeting to go to. The Board of Supervisors will be there, and they are planning to create a record of comments from community members. So it's important that you go, bring your comments. They're creating that record so that they can take that record to the SCC on our behalf. There's running twice. The first one is at what, 5, is it at 5 and 7:30? I think that's correct. You can check on their website. Do it, recommended comments. So the SEC considers things that relate to health, which is why why you're hearing health mentioned, scenic, community issues. Those are I'll see if we can send something to the group and to the email list about that, and about impact to the area. So there's 3 things that they consider, and that's primary importance. Historical, scenic, and health, are the primary, and so like, especially property losses, right? Where we're talking about loss of property value, it matters.
Again, I found some nice, good videos about the sound. It's like, I'm thinking about Embryville, for example. They might not think they're impacted, but I'm telling you, I've listened to a lot of lines and they sound terrible. And the sound goes far. And, I mean,
it is very tragic.
It does like this, constantly, way louder than this. And I have a video of 10 minutes, different lines and different sounds. And he does this humming constantly, day and night.
All right, and so our next Towering Concerns meeting is going to be on Saturday, February the 28th at 1:30 p.m. in this same location. That's 1813 Mountain View Road. We'll be excited to answer some questions there. We've got time for one question. We'll take the one that was asked in the Zoom.
That is, the question came online from SM Rod that said, did we get all the congressional representatives involved at both the state and federal level?
So we have had a letter, Paul Milde, I hope I'm saying his last name right, Milde. Okay, we had 4 different pronunciations came back. Paul, who I've been on a podcast with, he did send a letter to the SCC on our behalf. He was not reelected, so now we've got to get in with our new delegate and talk to her. So that's the new thing. She just came into office this month. I don't anticipate that being a problem, but yes, write to your delegates, write to the governor, write to PJM, write to our Board of Supervisors. Let them know that you care about this.
Can you update us on the meeting you had with Pam Young?
I did meet with Pam Young, who is who's in the Board of Supervisors. The 3 Board of Supervisors members who are really taking the point on this are Pam Young, Daryl English, and Crystal Vanuch, because they are the main areas where the Kraken is passing through in the county. What she told me is to let you all know that she is interested in this, that they are fighting on, and that she is talking and coordinating with us. They're interested in coordinating with us. I'm passing her the information that I'm passing to you about easements, about HUD, about history. The next step we need to make sure we start providing to them is information on scenic things, health, history. That stuff can be done at the meeting on the 29th. But yes, they are coordinating with us. There's a lot of moving pieces. I do know that she was, as I mentioned earlier, that she is trying to work with the Planning Commission to see if there's any hope of pushing this alternate Quantico route, because that would be our first goal. And so as far as what we're trying to do with this project, right, we're trying to get Dominion to just move the project to something that's a win-win for both of us. But we also want to be clear to Dominion that we're ready for a fight, that we're experienced, and that we're prepared, that we're coordinated, that we have representation, that we're ready to go. But we would prefer to work with them rather than fight them. And so that's what we're trying to strategize first, but we're going to be ready to go with the legal stuff when that happens.
How are we going to be ready to go?
So
8 to 12 weeks at maximum.
So already we know that Dominion is behind schedule. We do know that Dominion has meetings planned until April that are public meetings, so they will not file until after April.
That's what they say.
Well, that's what Pam told me, because she's part of the meetings that they're scheduling. So at least April is the earliest that they'll file. Now, as far as coordinating, Towering Concerns, I think we're going to take more. We need to do some more coordinating there and see if we're going to take the same path that the previous Towering Concerns did. One of our problems has been that we don't have a president. We don't have a leader, right? I'm just the acting person. And so without a president, without a board of directors, it's hard for us to take initiative that way. We haven't had people step up and say, I'm willing to be the president. We haven't had anybody step up and say, I'm willing to be on the board of directors. If that's you, contact me, contact a member of the PR committee, and let us know so that we can get that group together. And then we can make some decisions about what Towering Concerns is going to look like in the future. But thank you, everybody, for coming out. Thank you for this meeting. Appreciate all that information. And we will we'll get back with you as soon as we have more. This meeting was recorded, and so we can share that information. We'll share the recorded meeting with you as soon as we can. And listen, please talk to each other, right? Talk to each other and coordinate things.